can I tell you another short story about
Please,
merit?
please do it.
Yeah,
Let's do it anyway. Let's do it any way you want.
It's a personal story, and which is I wanted to explain my first exposure to the concept of merit, and it happened around the same age when I decided to be scientist. And in Russian language, we actually do not have the word merit. We do not have the word pluralism, privacy, so many terms just don't exist in Russian. But the concept definitely existed. And after, like my mother scolded me for my idea to be a scientist, and after she saw that I'm persisting with my determination, she came back and sat me down for a serious conversation. So I was like, I do not know, in 7th grade. And she said, look, honey, I know you are ambitious. I see that you're very smart. You want to do what you want to do. You are stubborn. It's all good. But she said, look, seriously, you cannot become a scientist because argument number one, we do not have connections, she said. We do not have connections in Russian scientific circles, which means that you will have very difficult time to advance. You will be sitting there in the back of the lab, writing thesis, PhD thesis after one another for sons and daughters of those who have connections. And, you won't be able to. And then she said the second argument is that, well, you need to think about how you are going to provide for your family and what are you going to bring home. And because in Russian economy, like everything was in short supply and money meant nothing. And she said, yeah, like you should go and take a job where you can be closer to some material goods so you can bring some food home or, some textiles or whatever. And what are you going to bring from university, like pens or notebooks? So, and she had very good reason to make these 2 points. And that's when I first time, started to think about this idea of merit versus, all these structures of corruption or nepotism or, social hierarchies that work against merit. And luckily for me, I ended up in a place where meritocracy was at play. Like when I came to Hebrew University, first of all, I didn't speak any language to communicate. So it was quite difficult. But when I get to communicate with my future advisors, we very soon started to write equations. And through that, we established a contact. And he said, I do not know, he said that he was able to see a merit in my preparation and my understanding of mathematics. And I get my foot in the door, I get my chance to advance. The same applies for subsequent stages of the career. Like in some instances, I had to work maybe harder than others because of difficult start. But what was important that I was judged largely by my merit, and that allowed me to get my job and to advance.
May I just say that's a fabulous story about your mother. That's just really it's great. But something I'm hearing you say also is that in your experience, entering into a meritocracy at Hebrew University, for example, was for you a way of opening doors. It was meritocracy was an opportunity for you to move through into society into a position that you never could have gone to without a meritocracy. So it's interesting because there's a progressive flag that the defenders of DEI and the postmodern worldview sometimes carry around as they're the vanguard of progress and opening and liberation and so on. But what I'm hearing you say is that in your experience, it was meritocracy, that strict, demanding discipline of excellence, which opened the possibility for you to have the path of life that you've walked.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons I feel so strongly about defending meritocracy. And I'm not alone. You can find many more scientists that can tell you similar stories that came from very modest background and they get to become what they became because their skills, their talents, their work was recognized, first through standardized tests, then through, their accomplishments and so on.